dust? No, 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 no. Oh my god. T-side dust. Gang, I swear. I swear this is 2. I swear.
Rip into it.
What's goody?
Yeah, hey,
Let's get
buddies.
this W.
VIP, gonna VIP. Hey.
Counter-terrorists win.
Say cheese. Hey. Hey. Imagine raging and then like pulling up my stream and this is the stream. And like the whole cat room is dancing and eating cheese. Like nah, the gun! That was smart. That was not. Novia. Mucha novia.
He's free. He's free.
Coming to
One
plant.
cat.
I'm gonna fix this bomb now. Bomb has been planted.
Nah, what am I doing? Oh my god, bro!
Terrorists.
Oh,
We won't stop your little scout.
shit. Look at my damage. Okay, okay, second round deagle, okay. Did you pay for the knife? No. This was Panzer. Around, when I went to the Austin Major. Ruby. And these gloves are from Emmy. Emmy, okay. She's so funny. She's the one that was like, she made like the faithful sheriff guy change his VTuber out of like shame. So funny. These gloves are from her. Oh! Look at my ruby. Do you like mine too?
Where is it? Where is it?
In my
I don't
hand.
see.
It's
Oh,
it's
then
short,
maybe
but it's not about the length of your knife.
Yes, yes. It's not about.
It's
the
about-
length,
Yeah,
it's about the
what you
girl.
do
Size
with it.
doesn't matter, guys.
It's about if it's a gem.
girth of
And
the
this
knife.
is
Girth.
ruby. I swear. I made them laugh. Be cool, be cool.
Well.
They just threw a perfect molly.
That was mine.
Oh man, I was giving you an out.
I mean, that was perfect. That was perfect.
You said that was mine.
I never seen it.
Oh my god.
Just hold. Yeah, good. One more cat.
Yeah, you got it.
Christ! I missed every shot! They're so nice to me. They're like, no, you're cracked, you're cracked.
Das Vidania.
Jolt,
Lots of
thank
those
you. Look
Cool.
What is this fucking...
I've
Oh,
got
no.
this smoke. Apparently it falls on doors. Let me see.
Lock in.
Flashbang out.
One on E.
Ow, my eyes. Maybe I am cracked.
Damn, Journey.
He said bullshit. I'm cheating.
And you were saying jolly laugh? You're the one too.
Damn, imagine. I was going kind of nuts. I'm so back. It's the good puns. Exactly, Ryle.
Thank you.
Nice knife. It would look good if it was like a little shorter.
Yeah.
Right there.
I get that a lot.
He's in lower tons. I don't know if I touched him at all.
I think we'll win this one.
You just saw him in tons right there.
Oh shit, you're back.
He's left side, left side.
I don't see you.
Left side!
Oh my god, I got my left and right wrong.
side.
Oh my god, I got my left and right wrong.
Correct.
Be my friend.
Like you said he's left, and in my head I was like, yeah, I'm looking left.
GG's, wow.
GG's, guys.
GG's.
GG's.
Yeah, 80% headshot percentage. Slap on my knob. Like corn on the cob. Check in with me and do your job. Ferg is the name. Big bullet is the game. Watch.
Clear left, clear left.
Damn! Look at that. That shit is down. Before the smoke even pops.
Bro,
So
you
sorry,
lucky got
dude.
in the
Bro,
way.
actually, no, I didn't mean to.
If I
No,
sub, will
I
you
know
play
it.
the next 2
I
rounds
don't
with the
think I saw it,
taser?
bro. I didn't want to
For
shoot you.
$2? Losing and having to spin the wheel? No. I can't stop winning. Look at this. Current punishment, none. Still. Sheesh.
Every time I shoot, it lags back up. so
I
can't
haven't gotten a
shoot.
point since I said I can't stop winning. We were at 1-5.
That's fucking bullshit. No way he double shot the
Behind.
same spot.
Who PayPal'd my teammates? Who PayPal'd my teammates to throw? Show yourself. 6-7, 6-7. Look at the score. Look at the score. Look. Oh my god. Hey, the dream hack hollows.
Grenade out. Incendiary out.
Dang.
Yeah, I messed up.
There's pushing out B. I don't know if that's bomb, but there's 2 of them already out B. Careful.
Lol. Is this going to be another tie? Like, we get one, they get one, we get one, they get one. I hate this game. Tetris. Tetris!
Fuck that. I hit him through the fucking wall. It's gay.
How does he know?
Suck my balls! Why can he see me and I can't see him? How can he see my head and he's not on my screen? Oh my god. Look at the score! Look at the score, no!
Flashbang.
Hey,
Grenade out. Incendiary out.
3. GG. GG. Fucking bot team! Like, actually bots!
Alright, bro.
So here's how this will work. I'm gonna spin, and I'm not gonna look at what it lands on. I'm only going to look at chat to see your reaction. Let's go. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. I'm only looking at chat. I'm only looking at chat. What is it? What do you mean no shot? What do you mean no shot? Why are you saying yes? Why are you saying yes? The best one. Why are you so happy? Okay, All it says is no talking for an hour. Not no talking for an hour and play Counter-Strike. So I'm just gonna fucking sit here and watch YouTube videos. Fuck you. I'm turning into the worst reaction streamer you've ever seen. Bye, guys.
This is Trenchfoot, a tiny walking fish with a cute face, periscope eyes, and a stubborn personality. Mudskippers are smarter than people realise. They learn routines, recognise patterns, and can even solve problems. So this got me wondering, is it actually possible to bond with a fish? A question I never thought I'd ask. So for the next 30 days, I'm going to give this a go. And it all begins on day 1. Before we get into the bonding, Trenchfoot needs a home, but the problem with the mudskipper tanks is that most people get them wrong. They need mud, mangroves, brackish water and a tidal system, and 7 days after I started, the mangrove ecosystem is finally ready for Trenchfoot, who is seemingly very eager to get in there. But as he explored his new home, I started to get a sense of how comfortable he actually was around me. Clearly, he is not very comfortable around me, and if we are ever going to form a bond,
She can't tell us not to mlem now.
there are a few things we must do. First, he needs to start eating. After that, he must accept food from my finger. And finally, Trenchfoot must show how much he trusts me and hop onto my hand and let me hold him. Now these might sound simple, but on day 8, I made a huge mistake. Mudskippers can live in groups if there's enough space, and with the idea of Trenchfoot being lonely in his home, I thought I'd get him a friend. I'd like you to meet Nelson. Now I chose the name Nelson for a very good reason, and that reason is as Nelson Muntz has claimed the entire land area as his own, and Trenchfoot is resigned to spending his time in the corner. But to make this worse, over the 2 days since Nelson went in, Trenchfoot hasn't been able to eat, because Nelson keeps stealing his food. If I don't act now, then we won't tick off that first goal, and Trenchfoot may starve. The defining characteristic of a fish is that they spend 100% of their time underwater, which is why mudskippers are so interesting, because they spend 95% of their time out of the water. Mudskippers are fiercely territorial, and right now, Nelson owns everything. Trenchfoot has nowhere safe, which means he's too stressed to eat, so I need to give him a territory of his own, a place Nelson can't see him, and that's where this balloon comes in. Mudskippers use burrows as safe hideouts, so if I bury this balloon in the mud, cover it, pop it and pull it out, I should be left with a tiny mudskipper burrow, a private space for Trenchfoot, somewhere he can finally feel safe and hopefully come out to eat. On the morning of day 11, I noticed that Trenchfoot was still in his burrow, so I placed some worms on the feeding stone, and within a few seconds, Nelson made his way over and started to eat. But he jumped away, and this is Trenchfoot's window. Come on, little buddy, you haven't eaten in 3 days. You are looking at the face of a very satisfied mudskipper, and goal number 1 is ticked off. But if you thought that world peace had landed in the mangrove, then I'm afraid you're very much mistaken. Nelson Muntz is still a bully, and that means there is only one thing left for me to do. I'm just kidding, I did not flush Nelson down the toilet, but he is now in a new home, and Trenchfoot has the mangrove to himself, and this makes the next goal so much easier. Or so I thought. A mudskipper tank might not be pretty. The water is murky, the mud is, well, muddy, and the mangroves haven't quite settled in yet. But it's actually a perfect home for our little protagonist. It's been 3 days since Nelson departed, and Trenchfoot has a newfound wave of confidence. The land area belongs to him now, and he is the king of this mudflat. What's amazing is that he's becoming more comfortable with me and will make his way over whenever I offer him food. But he always stops short of accepting it, even if he really wants it. It's like there's a big red button in front of him. He wants to press it. He knows what happens if he presses it, but he can't bring himself to do it. Just look what happens when my finger isn't there. And when it is there, he moves away. That finger has become the only thing holding him back, but here's the thing. Every single time that finger appears, food appears too. So I just kept trying. Same place, same finger, same routine, again and again and again. And slowly, the finger stopped being something to fear, because it didn't mean danger, it just meant food. By day 20, Trenchfoot made the choice for himself and started eating straight from my finger, which means there's only one step left in this process. But before we get there, it's worth understanding why a fish like this would even walk in the first place. Mudskippers live in mangroves, estuaries and mudflats. Sometimes these environments are underwater, sometimes they're completely exposed. But in these ecosystems, the water can run dangerously low in oxygen. So instead of staying submerged, mudskippers evolve the ability to breathe air. They still use gills underwater, but they can also absorb oxygen through their skin and hold air in their gill chambers, which means that being on land isn't a problem for them. Those fins act almost like elbows, pushing against the mud, with their tail helping to drive them forwards. So for a fish that spends much of its life out of the water, my hand was never going to feel that strange. Ever since he started eating from my finger, Trenchfoot waits for me at the door every morning. It's kind of become our little routine. In the 30 days since I've had this little fish, I've watched him change. From being bullied and hiding scared in the corner, to a confident mudskipper who will eat straight from my finger. But we have one more step to take. Has a fish ever willingly walked onto the hand of a human? I have no idea, but at this very moment, I have never felt so bonded to a fish in my entire life. As he hopped off, I thought I'd try again, and he hopped on not once, but twice more, and my bond with Trenchfoot feels like it's just beginning.
Oh my god.
And with that, quietness fell on the mangrove. Nothing fills me with more happiness than a tank filled with mud, mangroves, slightly salty water, and a tiny fish called Trenchfoot, who waits for me every morning so he can get his breakfast. There is plenty more to come from Trenchfoot, but in the meantime, check this video out. This is Cloud, the cutest frog in the world. He's tiny, see-through, and looks like a cross between Kermit the Frog and a gummy bear. But Cloud...
You crazy? Down, boy. Look at your grass face.
Into the thick of it.
Into the thick of it.
Into the thick of it. Ugh. We're tramping through the bush.
Ohayo, Poco. Good morning, Pac. Buenos días, Poco. Доброе утро, Poco. Buongiorno, Poco. Bom dia, Poco. And she says, I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. I wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids.
En casa, sabe que
Cloud has a problem, because he's old for a glass frog, and if he doesn't find a girlfriend soon, his family tree will end with him, and I can't let that happen. So if we are going to create a little frog family, I'll need to find Cloud a girlfriend, build them the perfect home, and hope they get along well enough to create.
¿Cuándo es que te va a dejar ver? Voy a hacerte de todo, del aeropuerto directo para los.
That's all you gotta do is say that one time, okay?
Create the tiniest love story on earth, and this all begins in an IKEA cabinet. If Cloud is to fulfill his destiny and become a father before it's too late, he needs a rainforest that mimics his home in South America. But creating a rainforest inside an IKEA cabinet is a tricky task, and it took quite a while. Now the rainforest is ready, but Cloud, are you ready to move in? Despite what he says, Cloud jumps into his new home and does what he does best and goes straight to sleep under a leaf. Now this is the perfect opportunity to tell you about one of Cloud's hidden superpowers. We know that glass frogs are see-through, it helps them hide from predators in the wild, but Cloud takes it one step further, because when he sleeps he hides nearly all of his red blood cells in his liver, which makes him almost invisible when he's on a leaf. Now that's great and all, but actually creates a problem for me when I'm trying to find him in this giant terrarium. The first task is complete and we have a home fit for a family of glass frogs. But as night falls on the rainforest, an annoying sound reminds me of our problem. Take it from me, do not keep these frogs anywhere near your bedroom because they are loud. Now that noise is Cloud calling for a girlfriend, and for 3 whole years he's been calling out every night hoping a female will answer, but for over 1,000 days no one has. Now you may not know this, but Cloud is named after the Final Fantasy VII character Cloud Strife, and I always thought that if I ever found him a girlfriend, she'd be called Aerith. My 3-year search to find Cloud his Aerith has failed at every step. But sometimes, when you've given up all hope, the stars align and an unexpected message came through. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but we have found Cloud a girlfriend, and the tiniest love story on earth is going to continue. I have never met anyone as knowledgeable about frogs as Harry is, and we owe him a big fat thank you because in this box is Aerith. And tomorrow, Cloud is finally going to meet his girlfriend. Three years has come down to this, and Cloud finally has his Aerith, and we can tick off that second goal. After all this time, their journey is finally going to begin. But the stars that once aligned for these tiny frogs were about to fall apart. The life expectancy of a glass frog is between 5 to 10 years, and when I got Cloud 3 years ago, he was an adult, so he is well and truly in his end-of-life window. Every night for 3 years, Cloud has called out, but ever since Aerith went into the rainforest, Cloud has stopped calling. Days and days pass by and the frogs barely notice each other. But it seems that in the construction of the rainforest, I missed out one very important step. You see, glass frogs will only mate when the rains arrive and the temperatures drop, but they also need a pool of clean moving water underneath them. Turning the IKEA cabinet into a terrarium was one thing, but making it consistently rain with a pool of moving water was beyond my capabilities. So I'm going to do the next best thing and create a separate rain chamber, which will simulate the exact conditions these frogs need to get into the mood, and with a huge slice of luck, this will encourage the two to start their relationship. Cloud and Aerith enter the completed rain chamber for what is going to be the biggest night of their lives. For the first time since he met Aerith, Cloud stands up tall and starts to call. We are off to a good start. He chirps and chirps, but will Aerith answer him? But this is as close as they get, and Cloud jumps away. Perhaps he's feeling the pressure, but night after night the same thing happens, and every morning when I check for eggs, I found nothing. What is going on, Cloud? We have waited 3 years for this. I suppose you can't rush these things. Aerith is still holding on to her eggs, and she will only release them when the conditions are just right. I made it rain. They have leaves to lay on, but these frogs are very sensitive, and there is one more thing that I want to try. So I dropped the temperature down a little, and we finally had a breakthrough. It's 1 AM and there has been no calling all night. As I peek into the rain chamber, I could see one little frog poking its head over a leaf. But where's the other one? It's always a worry when you can't see all of your frogs in the terrarium, but it was about to reveal itself in the most beautiful way. Because the frog on that leaf is Aerith, and right behind her is Cloud. Guys, despite my low monotone voice, I am literally filled with emotion, and we are so close to hitting that final goal. Cloud and Aerith are in amplexus, which is where the male mounts the female just before she lays her eggs and he can fertilise them. But we are not out of the woods just yet because they don't always lay, and with a big red light shining on them, well, they certainly won't. So, filled with adrenaline, I go off to bed, and in the morning, I checked for eggs once more. It fills me with sadness that Cloud's days are numbered, and the whole point of starting this process was so he could have a little family. Cloud is always asleep by the time I get up, so it's strange that he's awake. I look at Aerith and notice that she doesn't have many eggs left in her, which can only mean one thing. But where are they? I checked every leaf and couldn't see a single egg, and it dawned on me. Cloud may be old, but he's inexperienced, and this is Aerith's first time laying eggs. More often than not, the first clutch of eggs fails, which perfectly explains why I can't see any in the rain chamber. But there is a nugget of information that we have missed. Male glass frogs have strong parental tendencies and will look after the eggs until they hatch. They pee on them to stop them from drying out and will fight off any predators who come too close, and this explains why I can't see them. Because a small shift in Cloud's stance reveals that the tiniest love story on Earth is going to continue. Cloud's family tree is not going to end with him, and we can tick off that final goal. Part 2 of Cloud and Aerith's story is coming very soon, and to see it, you should subscribe. But in the meantime, check out this video. This is Bernard, a tiny mouse who can balance on a single stem of wheat. In the wild, harvest mice live in meadows and wheat fields, but as pets they spend their lives in cages that look nothing like the habitats they evolved for. So I wanted to try something different and see what would happen if I built Bernard a meadow ecosystem. But over the next 80 days, things escalated much faster than I expected, and I was left with a serious problem. Raising a tiny mouse might seem cute, but it's far more challenging than I ever imagined, and Bernard's story begins on day 1. Bernard is a Eurasian harvest mouse, roughly the size of a strawberry, and his new home is big enough for quite a few strawberries. By giving him an ecosystem that mimics a meadow, I was hoping he'd behave like a harvest mouse in the wild, and as he entered his new home, Bernard immediately began to gnaw at a seed. Exactly the kind of behaviour that I was hoping to see. But that brings me to the bigger idea. Can this meadow support a harvest mouse family? And by day 5, our new guests arrived. It's almost as if Bernard was expecting female visitors, because just before the guests arrived, he started to groom himself. This is Bianca, and this is Gus. Bernard has 2 girlfriends because he is enthusiastic, let's say. Now, harvest mice might be extremely cute and gentle creatures, but with 2 more personalities in the terrarium, a problem quickly surfaced. As Bianca is eating, Bernard begins to bother her. Now, this is fine until Gus joins the party and all hell breaks loose. It seems that we have 3 mice who cannot get along, and if this continues, something will have to change. And by day 10, that's exactly what happened. It took 10 days, but the meadow has finally come to life. Springtails appear where there is moisture, isopods are hidden beneath the damp grass, benevolent worms churn over the soil, and I even caught this little snail eating some poo. The meadow now has custodians and the system has settled, but the mice, however, have not. And this leaves me with 2 choices. Either I separate the mice and find them new homes, or I leave them in there and hope that they settle. And after a few rocky days, it seems that there is a ray of hope, and Bernard, Bianca and Gus are going nowhere. For now. I tried to build the most accurate meadow terrarium I could for the mice, one that reflected how they actually live in the wild, and on day 20, something magical happened. Harvest mice are not like other mice. They spend most of their lives high up in the long grass and cereal crops, moving above the ground rather than across it. In the wild, they build their nests up there too, woven into the stems, but in captivity, that behaviour is almost never seen. Now, it was through building them this accurate meadow terrarium that enabled Bianca to build herself a little nest. And it wasn't just Bianca, because Big Gus did it too, and Bernard, characteristically, has built one next to the food bowl. But it's not just their behaviour that has changed. It's day 30 and that wheat stalk is holding on for dear life because Bianca is carrying a little extra weight. And so is Gus. Now, this is not holiday weight, and I'm pretty sure that our little harvest mouse family is about to increase in size. But it was at this moment that I realised I had reached the point of no return. Bernard, Bianca and Gus are the parents. Bianca could be carrying a litter of up to 7 pups, and so could Gus. In around 17 to 19 days they would be born, and that alone takes the meadow to 17 mice. But harvest mice grow up fast, and in as little as 6 weeks, those pups would be capable of breeding themselves, and this was the beginning of my problem. If you take your eyes off a harvest mouse for even a moment, everything can change. In the morning, Bianca's nest was perfect, but by the evening, it had all but disappeared. The carefully woven ball of grass had completely unravelled, and our little mouse sits in its place. If she doesn't build another nest, her babies will have nowhere to go. But Bianca is a determined mouse, and she begins to grab dried grass and fibres, weaving them into a ball. Once she was done, a thicker, more robust nest appeared at the bottom right-hand corner of the terrarium. And look who I caught going inside. My friends, I think it's about to happen. But before we get into the next part of the story, there's something I want to show you. Your support in watching my videos and buying my previous books has meant that there is a 3rd book on the way, but this one is extra special because it features the animals you see in these videos. Stars like Cloud the Glass Frog, Trenchfoot the mud skipper, Thunderhead the morning gecko, Earl the jumping spider, and 20 other animals with deeply interesting stories. If you pre-order a copy early, you get a bonus surprise, and I would like to preparing their little bodies for what was to come. Out of the 3 mice, Gus had always been the calmest. While Bianca stayed close to her nest, Gus always comes to the front of the terrarium and will very calmly let me hold her, sometimes joining me for breakfast. Gus may be the calmest of the mice, but if there is one thing she doesn't like, it's being out in the open. Every time she goes on the table, she runs back to me, over and over again. And it's only when I create a little cup in my hand that she calms down and properly joins me for breakfast. Watching Gus scratch her belly is the best way to end any day, but very soon, the whole dynamic of the terrarium was about to change. I've never seen anyone build a bioactive terrarium for a mouse, which is surprising because it works almost perfectly, simulating their natural environment, enabling them to show natural behaviours. But there was one thing it hadn't done yet. The only mouse still roaming the meadow is Bernard. Bianca and Gus have disappeared into their nests, and I have no way of knowing what's happening inside. If I interfere, they could abandon their nests, and with tiny babies relying on their mother's milk, I don't even want to think about it. I prepared myself for a long wait, but in typical Harvest Mouse fashion, I did not have to wait very long. Just a few days later, the girls reappeared, but something about them was different. Firstly, they were noticeably slimmer than before, and instead of eating in the food bowl, they began carrying food straight back to their nests, which could only mean one thing. Somewhere inside those woven balls of grass, new life had almost certainly arrived. But before I could see the babies, Bernard showed us exactly why he couldn't stay in the meadow any longer. As soon as female harvest mice give birth, they are immediately ready to mate again, and Bernard is very happy to oblige. If I left him in the meadow, the situation would spiral out of control, so our little friend sadly has to be removed. But as I would soon discover, I was already too late. Nothing can prepare you for the feeling of discovering a baby harvest mouse. It took 50 days, it took building a meadow ecosystem, and it took our 3 beautiful mice doing all of the hard work. I thought there were 3 nests in here, but I was wrong, because in the top left corner is a 4th, and that movement you just saw is a baby leaving the nest. All over the terrarium, little faces dart around, almost too fast to catch on camera. But if we look underneath the hay, we get a clearer picture. 3 little mice are licking springtails and mites off the glass, but they haven't quite learnt how to catch food yet. I had never seen a baby harvest mouse before, and I was not prepared for this level of cuteness. It was clear that the meadow had worked. Bernard, Bianca and Gus have raised their first generation of babies, but the success comes with a catch, because the day your harvest mice have babies is the day your problems begin to multiply, and even though Bernard had already been removed from the meadow, I was too late. By day 60, the scale of the problem was impossible to ignore, and I'm starting to think that harvest mice do not make good pets. While the first generation would get into grips with the meadow, Bianca and Gus were busy brewing the second generation. And this is a big problem. Because harvest mice don't stay babies for long. In just a few weeks, they're going to have their own babies, and a few weeks after that, they'll have their own babies, which means that this meadow is on the literal verge of becoming something I cannot control, and this cannot continue. Hey guys. What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? There we go. Gus didn't know it yet, but this would be the last time she stepped onto my finger, because when you truly love something, you have to do what's best for it, and sometimes that means letting go. I cannot give the mice the life they deserve. 4 babies were born in the first litter, and another 10 in the second, including the adults. That's 17 harvest mice in just 80 days, and this is why harvest mice do not make good pets. But there is another way we can help. Harvest mice have largely disappeared from the British countryside, and in some areas have not been seen in over 40 years. But thanks to a small group of volunteers, things are beginning to change. Ealing Wildlife Group have released over 3,000 harvest mice into the local area, and recent field studies have found that their efforts are truly working. Their work has even been recognised by the legend himself, David Attenborough. So as a small way of giving back and to support them and these wonderful mice, I've set up a fundraiser, and just £20 feeds the entire colony for a month, and if you'd like to help, you'll find a link below. But there is one more thing. Because the Meadow, Bernard, Bianca, Gus and the babies will live on as an educational display at Horsenden Farm, helping people understand these tiny animals and why they're worth protecting. If you're in London, you can come and visit them for yourself, and who knows, maybe I'll see you there. If you enjoyed this video, check out this one too.
YouTuber is a lot like being the captain of a big ship. You're in charge of this massive machine with a ton of different parts that you don't fully understand, and thousands of people depend on you to steer that machine in the right direction. Every sailor knows the tragedy of the Titanic, the unsinkable vessel, the ship that was too big to fail. It's a story that's been told dozens of times, and it always ends the same way, with the Titanic doomed to a watery grave. And just as sailors should beware of the Titanic's fate, so too should YouTubers beware of Leafy's fate. Did you ever hear about the tragedy of Darth Leafy the Young? When you look at Leafy's channel today, what you see is basically a sinking ship. His channel is bleeding subscribers almost every day. Like a ship taking on water, it has become completely unsalvageable. There's no way to stop the bleeding. The only thing left to do is watch it sink. Looking at the ruins of Leafy's channel today, it's hard to believe that this was once one of the most powerful empires in YouTube history. So what on earth happened? What caused Leafy's expedition to sail so desperately off course? Why did all of his fans suddenly abandon ship? Everyone thinks they know the whole story, and if you ask any old YouTuber, they'll tell you the same old tale, that the content cop, iDubbbz himself, heroically slayed the beast that was Leafy is here, and that was the end of it. The content cop may have taken all the glory for the kill, but he won't tell you the whole story. That's where I come in. This is the real story about the rise and fall of Leafy's empire. Leafy is here opened his YouTube channel on October 7th, 2011, but if you look on his channel today, his oldest videos only date back to November 2013. So did Leafy just wait 2 years to start uploading content? No, it turns out that Leafy spent 2012 doing what every other person on YouTube was doing, making Minecraft videos. That's right, one of the most notorious YouTubers of all time started off as just another Minecraft Let's Player. It's really strange and ironic looking at Leafy's channel with less than 4,000 subscribers, knowing the behemoth that it would eventually become. It's easy to look at a giant YouTube channel and call them overrated while discrediting all of their success, but it's important to remember that every channel has to start from somewhere, and most channels have to spend years working their way up from the very bottom, including Leafy. Sometimes when waiting for their channels to grow, YouTubers get impatient. You look at your sub count and you start to see it as a score in a virtual game. That big number at the top of your channel just looks so impressive. That number is power. That number is influence. And soon you begin to get desperate, trying everything you can to attract a new audience and grow that number. Because if you want to make it big on YouTube, you gotta have a lot of subscribers. And you think you can control how much that number grows. But if you're not careful, that number will begin to control you. And unfortunately, many YouTubers don't realize this until it's too late. Trying to produce Minecraft content on YouTube will quickly teach you a valuable lesson, and that's that you're a long way from the top. Everyone thinks they can just start up a YouTube channel, play some video games, and in 2 years they'll be driving up to their new mansion in a Lamborghini. That's the image that YouTube has expertly marketed for itself. But unfortunately, it couldn't be further from reality. You see a guy like Captain Sparkles get millions of subscribers from only making Minecraft videos. And you think to yourself, this is so easy. I'm just gonna do what he does and I'll get famous too. Because if you want to make it big on YouTube, you gotta make Minecraft videos. This is everyone's mentality when they start their brand new YouTube endeavor. What they never seem to realize, however, is that about 10,000 other people have the exact same idea. Let's pretend you're driving down the highway. Say you want to stop and order a cheeseburger at the next exit. You pull off the highway and right down the street are a McDonald's and a Burger King. Now imagine that further down the street are about 10,000 other restaurants that sell burgers that are all pretty much all the same, if not worse than McDonald's or Burger King. Now which restaurants do you think are gonna sell the most burgers? That's pretty much how I imagine what it's like to run a Minecraft channel on YouTube. The difference being that on YouTube, you never see the 10,000 other channels just like you. All you see are McDonald's, Burger King, and all the money they make. And that's usually enough to keep people chasing the dream for a couple of years. Leafy started out as just one of those 10,000 or so channels jockeying to get his own cut of that sweet Minecraft viewer base. By May 2012, he was up to 3,600 subscribers, most of which originated from his flagship series Minecraft PvP Server Let's Play. Who could forget classics such as Part 38, Extreme Rage? By November, his sub count was over 9,000, and by August 2013, he was up to almost 19,000. Decent numbers for sure. Most YouTubers never even get this far. Leafy's channel was almost 2 years old, and something was about to change. Minecraft surpassed its cultural peak in summer 2013. It would never again be as popular. Leafy had a very critical decision to make. He could continue making Minecraft videos and ride that trend into the sunset on his very average YouTube channel, and that would be the end of it. Or he could risk everything and start searching for greener pastures. There comes a time in every YouTuber's life when they're faced with the prospect of abandoning their tried and true formula and pivoting their content to a new frontier. It's a decision that I, myself, have made in the past. It's pretty much the biggest gamble any YouTuber can make. You build up an entire channel, an entire audience doing one thing, and then you just go ahead and do a completely different thing. Some channels have pivoted away from their original audience and experienced tremendous success. Others have done the same thing and killed their entire audience. Some channels never pivot, at least not until it's too late. Remember Captain Sparkles? In his heyday, he was gaining upwards of 250,000 subs per month. Now he's struggling to break 10,000. He stuck to Minecraft content until late 2015, and by the time he tried to expand to other games, it was too late. Captain Sparkles had gone from one of the biggest channels on YouTube to completely irrelevant in just a couple of years. And if there's one thing I've noticed on this website, it's that if you stick to the same formula, you'll inevitably fade away. However, if you shake up your style, you have a chance, just a chance, of sticking around. And sometimes, that chance is enough to convince a YouTuber to make the switch. Leafy showed signs from very early on that he wasn't satisfied with just patiently waiting for popularity. He wanted to stand out. It was likely during the Minecraft era that Leafy conditioned himself to use clickbait titles and flashy thumbnails. Because if you want to make it big on YouTube, you gotta make yourself the center of attention. Over the next 18 months, Leafy would undergo an evolution. He would reboot his vaunted Minecraft PvP series. He would expand to other trendy games, Rust, CS2. He began to experiment with new video formats. He started a small vlog series. But most importantly, Leafy started to dip his toe into the wild world of YouTube commentary. It started with a brief 3-minute rant on Google Plus in November 2013.
Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the most loved comment system on the internet, which is Google+. Actually, I lied. Everybody fucking hates Google+. What a fucking surprise.
This was the first time anyone got to see a darker side of Leafy, a much more cynical Leafy that would attack a topic with ruthless derision. There was just something about his pungent and nasally tone that made young, edgy people want to rally around him. The Google Plus video was Leafy's first rant, and it certainly wouldn't be his last. In 2014, Leafy would appear in a few crossover videos with other Minecraft YouTubers, some of which are still online today.
Dude, there's no way. Look how many people. They're all drinking their pods. Dude, if this works out, I will be extremely surprised. Yeah, they're all drinking their pods, dude. They all are.
It's weird looking at these videos and seeing Leafy act so amicably and casually. At times it sounds like he's genuinely having fun with his pals. Leafy may have been portraying a friendly outward appearance, but internally, Leafy was changing. It was during this time when Leafy would noticeably alter his style. Leafy started to implement his now notorious all-caps video titles. His tone would begin to shift from joking fun to biting ridicule. By February 2015, Leafy was embroiled in the middle of a major transition. He had only gained about 5,000 subscribers since the summer of 2013, and at the start of 2015, Leafy's videos were actually getting fewer views than they were 2 years prior. Minecraft was diminishing in popularity, jeopardizing his flagship series. His efforts were now fractured across an assortment of different side projects. Jack of all trades, master of none. If you asked any observer at the time, they probably would have told you that Leafy's channel was dead in the water. But no one could have guessed that Leafy's channel was about to become more alive than they ever thought was possible, all thanks to a small seed he planted just a year before. Leafy entered 2015 teetering between making gameplay videos and making commentary videos. Then, he had a delightfully devilish idea. Why not do both, in the same video? He had actually experimented with this format back in 2014, but he truly didn't embrace it until March 2015. You see, what Leafy would do is talk over gameplay footage with a totally unrelated story or rant. I know this seems commonplace on YouTube today, but back in 2015, it was almost unheard of. Leafy most likely did not invent this style, but he certainly popularized it. Unbeknownst to everyone at the time, this method of placing unrelated commentary over gameplay footage was a formula for massive success in the YouTube algorithm. Leafy could engage viewers with any topic he wanted, while simultaneously keeping his videos in the gaming category. This gave Leafy a huge advantage over other gaming channels. He didn't have to be good at the games. He didn't have to be good at commentating the gameplay. He could pump out quote-unquote gaming videos while attracting broader audiences with his more general commentary and rack up more watch time than his competition. Gaming was, and still is, one of the most popular genres on YouTube, and the algorithm would begin to promote Leafy's videos far and wide. But Leafy's new style of gameplay content wasn't the only thing drawing in viewers to his channel. Something far more sinister was also to blame, something that Leafy had foreshadowed over his past 2 years. Leafy began to dedicate much of his content to making fun of children. In 2015, YouTube was a much more edgy place than it is today. This was a time before the adpocalypse neutered YouTube's more mature content. This was a time when channels like Filthy Frank were at their cultural peak, and getting away with videos that pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable on YouTube. This new frontier sparked a new kind of audience on YouTube, one that craved more outspoken, contrarian, and abrasive content. Leafy quickly became one of the channels to satisfy this new demand. Starting in March, Leafy would begin to go all in on appealing to the edgy part of YouTube. He started 3 new series: Kids That DDoS, Kids That Are Toxic, Kids That YouTube, mixed in with other general purpose rants, as well as more CSGO related content. This new brand of Leafy began to pay off, fast. By July, Leafy had doubled his subscriber count. He surpassed 100k in August, 200k in September, and 300,000 in October. This was presumably also the time when Leafy scrubbed his channel of all Minecraft related content, all except for this one video, which, for some reason, you can still view on his channel today. Minecraft had quickly developed a reputation as a game for little kids, the very same group Leafy was attacking in his new videos. For 3 years, Minecraft had brought Leafy his only taste of success on YouTube. Needless to say, it had served its purpose. Leafy had moved on to big boy games. Because if you want to make it big on YouTube, you gotta act like a big boy, otherwise people might make fun of you. Leafy disposed of his Minecrafter past so swiftly that it was almost reptilian. Oh yeah, I should probably mention the reptilians. Back in my video about Trump's rise to power, I talked about how he used memes to greatly expand his influence. Well, it turns out that Leafy kinda did the same thing. Enter the reptilians. It started off as a small joke in an August 2015 video.
Yeah, but these dudes legit believe that the fucking Illuminati is real. Some of them believe that 9/11 was an inside job by the Reptilian Brotherhood. Dude, I can't say reptilian with a straight face, man. It's just too much.
Glad you come to join us.
After which Leafy's fervent and rapidly growing audience began to adopt the joke as a meme. About a week later, Leafy made another video expressing his approval of the meme, and he unknowingly enabled one of the most cancerous YouTube epidemics in recent memory. Leafy unleashed the reptilian army to terrorize comment sections across the internet. Over the next several months, Leafy's fans would raid the comments of big YouTubers and spew reptilian propaganda. The hissing and spam and KYS comments became so widespread that it prompted an episode of Keemstar's Drama Alert, another channel that had been steadily growing over the same time period.
The man responsible for all the hissing on YouTube right now is Leafy is here.
This new source of attention would cause Leafy's channel to grow even faster, and it certainly wouldn't be the last interaction between Leafy and Keemstar. For the immediate future, Leafy and Keemstar would enter a cooperative relationship, with Leafy utilizing Drama Alert as a platform to extend his reach to a bigger audience. A few months later, Leafy would appear on Drama Alert to engage in a friendly insult battle with Pyrocynical, another commentary channel that had a similar style of ranting over unrelated gameplay footage. From what I can tell, they were all on good terms. Things were only looking up for Leafy. He had crafted his channel into one of the hottest properties on all of YouTube. Around Christmas 2015, Leafy would pass 500,000 subscribers. Just 45 days later, he would pass 1 million. Leafy had done it. He had made it big on YouTube. Just 12 months earlier, all he had was a floundering channel that was milking the last drops of popularity from a declining Minecraft game. In just a year, Leafy had concocted one of the fastest growing channels on all of YouTube. Equipped with Leafy had concocted one of the fastest growing channels on all of YouTube, equipped with a loyal and ravenous fan base. He started with basically nothing and created a bona fide empire, and he did it in a way that had never been done before. Normally, to become as popular as Leafy was, you have to be some high-energy gamer who screams a lot, a legit celebrity, or a flawlessly attractive vlogger plucked straight from Hollywood Hills. I guess nowadays you could achieve the same growth by selling your soul to 5-year-olds and playing with toys for a living, but this was before all of that became a thing. Before 2016, there was never another channel like Leafy's. He was barely promoted. He wasn't smiling and laughing all the time. He didn't have a doofy looking haircut. He didn't have professional looking production value. He was just some shady kid making rants in his bedroom, and he reached the highest echelon of YouTube almost all by himself. Channels like Leafy's weren't supposed to get popular, yet somehow through a mostly guerrilla campaign, he made it there. And not only that, but he was leading a booming genre of content almost completely unopposed. There was no reason to believe that Leafy's channel would stop growing anytime soon. Leafy had become the McDonald's of his domain. He had achieved every YouTuber's dream. But this dream was about to turn into a nightmare. Even at this time, Even when almost everyone liked him, even when his channel seemed unstoppable, there were cracks forming in the foundation. Let's just say that maybe there was a reason why there was never another channel like Leafy's.
And now I'm here to inform you of a very simple fact. This Sunday at Backlash, I put your downward spiraling career to sleep.
YouTube Geographic is brought to you by Patreon and by viewers like you. But most Geographic Memes t-shirt. Leafy was only ranting about children. However, once he figured out that these rants were his ticket to success, he doubled down on edgy content. He expanded his scope to booby streamers, then women and sex in general. At first he would only talk about broad subjects, but soon he would begin to target specific individuals. He would ramp up the clickbait, more racy thumbnails, more shocking hyperbolic titles. He would begin to indulge himself in something known as cringe culture, a trend that started gaining popularity in 2015, which involved roasting people on the internet for being weird. This foul cocktail of ingredients led to some of the most toxic content that YouTube has ever seen. And with toxic content comes a toxic fan base. Leafy was seemingly oblivious to this, but whenever he would feature a person in one of his rants, his fan base would often stalk and harass that individual. An early warning sign came in January 2016 when Leafy attacked a small occult YouTuber by the name of Mr. Black Darkness 666. Leafy's fans immediately went after Mr. Darkness, and he responded in a video where he attempted to place a curse on Leafy. The two confronted each other on Drama Alert, where they kind of reconciled their differences.
I'm sorry, Mr. Black Darkness 666.
So, Mr. Darkness, do you still want him to die?
No, I guess not.
Okay. Hey!
It is worth noting that Mr. Darkness never actually lifted the curse from Leafy. Just an interesting bit of trivia.
I still have to do the if I want the spell to end, I have to do the counter spell.
But anyway, pretty much everyone sided with Leafy on this issue, mostly because Mr. Darkness was such a melodramatic weirdo. However, the important outcome of this altercation was that Leafy denied responsibility for the actions of his fans. He claimed that all of his videos existed under a blanket state of satire, which supposedly excused him from the wrongdoings of his fans.
And I made a video about it, and it was one of those things that a lot of reaction channels do. It's one of those things that's like 50% like parody and like for comedy. It's basically satire, and then 50% like an actual message.
All right.
I mean, a little bit is on you, but you can't fucking take responsibility for every single person that watches your videos. That's ridiculous, you know?
Why? That's bullshit. Why can't you just make another video telling them to fucking calm down and
see? That's exactly what I was talking about with me and Pyro. We were thinking about making a video talking about satire content and how we make videos about people, but again, it's just parody and it's just for more comedic values. It's not we're not legitimately hitting these people.
That would all change after one video where Leafy and his fans took things too far. Leafy would upload a video making fun of a YouTuber by the name of TommyNC2010. Later that day, Tommy posted an emotionally distressed response, claiming that Leafy's fans had harassed him and given him death threats. On March 20th, H3H3 Productions made a video calling out Leafy and the rest of the commentary community, accusing them of enabling a culture of bullying.
I've been putting off talking about this because I'm actually friends with these guys, so it's awkward and it's uncomfortable. But if for some reason we as a community have been giving these guys a pass.
Now, I'm sure all of you know who H3H3 is today, but back in 2016, he was producing a fairly different type of content. Much like Leafy, H3H3 was producing semi-satirical rants and commentaries about people on the internet. Although H3H3's content was conceptually similar to Leafy's, there were a few key differences that set him apart. For one, H3H3 had a far less abrasive tone than Leafy. He had a much more mellow and joking approach to his subjects, attracting a much less toxic audience. In a nutshell, H3H3's videos made you laugh, while Leafy's made you mad. Additionally, H3H3 often targeted figures more famous than he, otherwise known as punching up. He would go after TV shows, celebrities, and giant YouTube prank channels. Leafy, on the other hand, had a reputation of punching down. He frequently targeted channels much smaller than his own, leading to much more harm to the victim from Leafy's overwhelming fanbase. Heading into 2016, Leafy and H3H3 represented two diverging ends of the commentary community, and it wasn't long before they were no longer compatible. Due to the unprecedented amount of backlash Leafy was receiving from H3H3's video, he quickly took down the Tommy NC rant and issued an apology. But he wasn't taking all that flack sitting down. H3H3's Leafy rant marks a landmark moment in YouTube history, as it sparked a chain of events that would make 2016 the most influential year in the history of YouTube drama. Drama that intensified on March 23rd, when Leafy retaliated with the H3H3 Productions rant. In it, Leafy revealed a series of DMs between he and Ethan, uncovering a rather duplicitous side of Ethan, in which he befriends Leafy just months before attacking him, while also conspiring against Pyrocynical.
Because a lot of people don't understand that me and H3H3 Productions used to be friends.
The commentary community was now split in two, and for the first time since becoming popular, Leafy looked somewhat vulnerable. He had never before dealt with a confrontation where a huge number of people were against him. The H3 Leafy drama sent shockwaves across the YouTube community, and Leafy quickly became one of YouTube's most notorious figures. It got everyone talking, even a guy like Video Game Donkey, someone who never commentates on anything drama related, made a video mocking Leafy.
You may remember me from my dipshit videos where I make fun of retarded people.
A few months later, Ethan would actually unlist the Leafy rant. He uploaded a video apologizing for his overly personal attack on Leafy, claiming that he was no longer proud of the original rant. Interestingly, Ethan would quickly unlist this video too, and you can make of that what you will. Regardless of Ethan's true intentions, the damage was already done to Leafy's credibility. The H3H3 rant was the first shot across the bow in the internet's gradual turn against Leafy, and a sign of much more grave things to come. But once all the flames died down, Leafy would remain relatively unscathed for the next couple of months, as YouTube's scorn was instead drawn to a very familiar figure. After H3H3 turned on his former ally, everyone in the commentary community had to watch their backs. The Leafy rant would go on to attract a ton of viewers, and everyone discovered that there was now a huge audience for YouTube drama, and therefore a huge incentive to expose unscrupulous YouTubers. That opportunity was seized by a new challenger that you all know as iDubbbz. On May 5th, 2016, iDubbbz uploaded the bombshell known as the Keemstar Content Cop, a 22-minute expose that ripped into Keemstar with such surgical precision that it instantly shot him up to public enemy number 1. Keemstar, who thrived on YouTube drama,
Oh my god. Oh my god, my heart. Bro, my heart. That actually scared me so bad.